Hello, everyone, and welcome back to RIFC Nation. I'm your host, Matt, and I'm joined by my good friend Ryan for this one. If you are not already subscribed, make sure you take a second, click that subscribe button, click that like button. And if you're watching this on YouTube, just know that you also have the option to listen to these on wherever you get your podcasts. And one more intro level announcement for you. If you use the RIFC Club Collector app, which is awesome. And if you don't use it, definitely check it out. Make sure you enter that code RIFC Nation to get a free pack today. I mentioned Ryan. Ryan had a much better morning than I did. So let's kick it to you, Ryan. How's everything going, my friend? Congratulations on your North London Derby win.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I know it's not easy for you to say that, but yeah, I think my blood pressure might be finally coming down. I'm not sure, but yeah, nice to get those 3 points, no matter how ugly or difficult we made it for ourselves.
Yeah, super controversial throughout this one. You know, we had an offside Mickey Van de Ven goal called back, which was cleared by an Arsenal defender, hit off another Arsenal defender, but still offside. I don't know. You tweeted out, so I didn't mention to you this in the like before we talked about Dejan Kulusevski not staying on his feet. But how do you stay on your feet when you get clipped going inside the box?
In fairness, I don't think it was about that incident. I just thought he had ice skates on all day, but fair.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but this was a tough one. This was a tough one to watch, and we kind of talked about the score dictating things, and for me, and I thought Spurs were the best team, the better team in the first half, but we were down 3-0 at the half, and I thought you guys kind of ran stuff in the second half, and obviously we were got the 2 goals, so a tale of 2 halves for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to give it away. We worked really hard to get you guys back in the game, so I thought you'd at least appreciate that, but.
Absolutely. We got Scott on here who says up the tide and also says Spurs got robbed today, in my opinion. Scott, come find me at the next RIFC home match. I owe you a beer for that one. It'll definitely be the RIFC Pale Ale from the Guild. We also have Hello You Two sending greetings from Sacramento, California, from
Awesome.
William Lamb. So awesome. And we have the infamous Sammer 401. Good afternoon, boys. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sammer.
Excited to be doing this. Excited to be doing this with Ryan. Obviously, if you listen to the last episode, I am not a one-man show anymore, and I am very appreciative of that, as it's definitely more fun to talk and interact with people as far as talking about football. And, I think one thing that Ryan and I both share is the love and sense of community with this club. So the fact that we can bring a little bit of that to you is definitely appreciative. And we got a lot of good compliments after that last episode. So thank you to everyone who took time out to talk to us. Before we get into the starting lineup and start breaking down the match, one thing we both mentioned in the lots at Bryant was, how cool is the RIFC app? Like, I use that. I didn't use SeatGeek to get in. I used the RIFC app to get in, and I found it much smoother. My parking pass, my ticket was all in one spot. So really cool to get, kind of scanned in one place. And it's just got some great content in it. Ryan, what'd you think of that app?
Yeah, I definitely recommend, if you are following the team, you want to stay up to date on the latest and greatest. It's a great place to get all information, get your ticket, a lot of good tidbits from the club. So I'm excited to see what they keep doing with it. But even just an initial rollout this week, very, very impressed. So
there are Premier League apps, and I'll say Tottenham's for one, that are worse than the RIFC app. So like it's cool to see the club kind of taking that next step. I follow the Scottish League pretty intensively, and a lot of clubs got rid of their app in the last few years. So it's cool to see the US kind of adopting that, because I think apps are what people interact with and kind of go with the most. And I see in the chat that Scott says we have an app. We do.
It's a soft launch.
Yeah, I guess. I think I saw it in an email. I think it was in the pregame
I think you're
email.
right, yeah.
So I believe, Scott, don't quote me, but I believe it is available on iOS and Android. So go back and check your emails. If not, just go check the App Store or Google Play Store, and you'll definitely find it. But
Yeah,
it is
great.
awesome.
If you're not someone who wants to be on social all the time, looking up, what's the latest and greatest with the team, they send you a push notification, get you all the same info. Just nice one-stop shop for all things RIFC.
Absolutely, and that was an unpaid advertisement. So thank you to the. You're welcome to the club for that one.
Yeah.
So if you also, side note, if you want to dive even deeper into football, download FOTMob. It's the best. It's on the web. It's an app. It's what we use when we talk about stats for the most part. It's just a really cool app that you can dive into. But Let's dive into the match now. We saw a very familiar and unchanged starting 11 with Jackson Lee in net, the back three of Gabi Alves, Yao, Nodarse, Quizera, Ibarra, Brito, Holstad, and Turnbull across the middle of the pitch. Fuzan and Dikwa up top. No need for change in this one, Ryan. Did you see it?
No, I mean it's tough to ask for changes after the club got their first win in history. I think the only thing that is going to be an ongoing debate as is the goalkeeper situation. Is Koke going to come back in? Is he not? I don't think he's like 100% fit yet, from what I'm hearing. So I don't think it was much of a debate at all. And I think Jackson, as I've said last week, has really earned his place to stay in there.
Yeah, so this one definitely kicked off early, and we saw Remy Cabral get things going in the 7th minute with a absolute whiff from Frank Nodarse, kind of on a counter. This, you and I had the pleasure of taking this one in together, just outside of the supporter section and in and out of it throughout. What did you make of this one? This was a typical counterattack, but Nodarse was there, had every right to be there and clear the ball out, and just totally whiffed on it.
Yeah, I don't think, honestly, any of the three of our center backs covered themselves in glory on this one. Nodarse, he has a bad touch from a Gabriel Alves cross. Defender gets his attacker gets it, but then he tries to go in for a tackle, gets no ball, gets no man. It's just, in that situation, you're on your own, you're on an island, just jockey alongside, don't just contain them. Don't get too aggressive there. And then from there, attacker has a clear, run in at the box, gets a great cross in. I thought Remy Cabral, credit to him, he made an amazing run in between our two center backs. And then Yao kind of whiffs on his attempt at getting a block in too. So just not great from anybody there.
Yeah, Cabral actually doubled his tally in the 34th minute with another. Nodarse was there again, kind of in the area, but he was left center of the pitch on this one. I thought, again, could have made a much better play on the ball. It seems to me that during the match in Vegas, the clear objective of the back line was no nonsense, clear everything, boot it long, just get rid of it, kick it out of bounds, concede a throw, and I don't know if it's just being at home, playing in front of the home crowd. We tried to get a little cute with this one, but maybe not 100% at fault for this one. But Nodarse, a big cog in the reason the second goal was conceded.
Yeah, I mean, this one was tough. I thought we went away from a lot of things that worked in Vegas, like you said, like keeping it simple. Our center backs were, being dragged here, there, and everywhere. When the goal goes in, all three of our center backs are on one side of the pitch, which, especially when you're playing a back three, is not good. But it was really tough. I think one thing we didn't do in this game was adjust to the game that was actually happening. When you look at the data, Phoenix so far this season has been a very, very low pressing team. They haven't been doing a ton of work there, but they took it to us. They created a lot of turnovers at the beginning. They were doing a great job pinning people back. And instead of adjusting to that and kind of bringing our center backs a little closer together, we really didn't change the way we were trying to do things until much, much later in the game after they already scored 2 goals.
Yeah, just tough to watch. I mean, the biggest thing with this was the first time we really dominated possession.
Yep.
First half stats had us at 55% to 45 for Phoenix. We had 5 shots, their 4. They did have 3 on target compared to 2. Obviously, they had, I believe it was 2 goals on 2 shots. Kind of with that first 2 goals. So a different style, but I think that was more Phoenix tactic.
Yes.
Than us. That was Phoenix knowing the press was going to come. Mm-hmm. And, if we give it away, let's just sit back a little bit and then boom, hit them on the counter.
100%. I mean, I think, we'll get into this in our our upcoming segment here, but we do such a good job pressing, but I do think, especially with our back three not having like a ton of speed, we can't, like, if they're, let the front 8 do like the majority of the pressing. I think we need to kind of be a little more patient and settle back a bit with that back three.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with that said, in the second half coming in, we saw a little bit of the same. Although Phoenix was able to get on the ball a little bit more, we actually kind of put in a barrage. We had 11 shots in the second half. They had 4. We were just all about getting that ball in the area, generating some good chances, getting some good opportunities in there, but just could not convert. And obviously, I think kind of before, I want to go back a second before we come into the second half, was obviously Chico's penalty miss. I'm sorry,
I was like, wait, we're gonna skip that?
Yeah, sorry, I missed that.
I would like to skip it, but
I will.
yeah.
I think I like kind of blocked it out from memory there. But it was his second attempt from the spot we've seen for the club. Obviously, the first one coming in the penalties in the Open Cup, but the first penalty for the club at home, and Chico sees it saved. 0 for 2 now in an RIFC shirt. Last season's Golden Boot winner. It was very under hit. It had no pace to it. He kind of opened his hips a little bit too early. What do you make of Chico from the spot in these last 2 times that we've seen him out? And dare I say, do we move on from him if another penalty arises?
It's funny. I was prepping for this. I was like, are we hitting the panic button and Chico as the penalty taker? Listen, he hasn't looked convincing. Both his penalties, and like, I think there's 2 misses in a penalty. Like, one is like the keeper makes an unbelievable save, and like,
sure,
what are you going to do about that? These are both not well taken at all. Like, especially this one. My other concern too on this is like, if he had allegedly he had a quad injury, and I don't know if that impacted his like stride or his plant or anything at all.
We heard that afterwards from Kano in the post game.
Yeah. So, and especially like in that shootout, the nice thing about a shootout is you get to see a lot of people take penalties. And I thought people like Fuson, I think even Joe Burrito had like pretty good technique. So, I'm not ready to hit the panic button yet, but at the same time, like if we get to 0-3, 0-4, pretty tough.
Yeah, definitely. Scott did throw in on the second goal, dispossessed and couldn't make it back in time. Turnbull also pretty badly out of possession. Just wanted to get some of those listener counters in there. But kind of going back to the second half and Scott's points, he said, "I'd love for you to give me a couple minutes on the difference between our long balls and their long balls and crosses." And I know this is a point that you have definitely some data on, Ryan, and we've been a very poor crossing team throughout this season. Their crosses and their long balls in particular were very efficient, and that's what led to a lot of their goals. So, you got some data on that one?
Yeah, I mean, rewatching the game. So first, to look at the data. I mean, on crosses, we were 9 of 33. So 33 crosses is insane. 27% hit rate there. In the second half, we were 3 of 20, only 15%. And rewatching the game, what I find strange, so crosses are not my cup of tea. I do not think it is the correct way to go about it. Doesn't mean that it has to be. That's just a personal preference thing. But what's strange is if that's going to be our kind of main source of trying to create chances, there's no one in the 6-yard box ever. It's usually whipping across, and maybe there's one RIFC player, but it's not like we're going in and having our wingers and forwards crashing the box. So yeah, just a concern about like the strategy and the actual output there, like matching. The other thing too is like, while we were throwing a ton of crosses, we were kind of, it almost at some points looked like a training exercise in the second half of, we press, they get the ball to midfield, we bring it back, we cross, it kind of kept going round and around. We only created one big chance the entire second half when chasing a game. And not for lack of effort, but it just shows that while we had a lot of possession, we had a lot of crosses, we just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah. And for me, it's particularly odd because obviously we are building this team around the flanks, and Kano wants to play that 3-5-2 and use the wing backs to create width and whip it in. So the fact that we're not getting those crosses in is a little bit alarming, obviously now a few games in, because we've seen a pattern of this and we're not able to get it in. We're very much less than clinical inside that final third, and we just have trouble getting that ball into the final third in general. So totally agree with you there on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see more kind of recycling around the 18. I think we just like, it's if we get it over to the side of the 18-yard box, the cross is going in, like no matter what. And I feel like sometimes we settle for that when we could attack the box and go for a cutback, which I think we do a much better job with those. We could recycle it back around. I mean, we'll talk about him in a bit, but we have a guy with a blessed right foot who only does top ins from outside shots. So, getting him a shot or two a game from the 18, I think would be great. So yeah, I just think sometimes we lack a bit of patience around the box when maybe the cross isn't actually the best solution because our attackers haven't made it from the build up yet into the box, or we're aiming for one guy when there's 5 defenders there. So definitely a lot of work to do there.
Definitely. I think that's really well said. And let's talk about Top Ben Clay next, who made it 2-1 in the 89th minute after a time wasting fall was given to the Phoenix Rising keeper Novo. And we had the very rare indirect free kick inside the box, as mentioned and pulled up by Men in Blazers. This one was cool. This made the Men in Blazers Twitter. Pretty sad that they're going away. I've enjoyed them over the past few years, and I've listened to their podcast, followed them on socials, but sad to see them going away. But cool to see RIFC make it before they go out. But this was an absolute master display or masterclass of an indirect free kick. Jojea Quizera playing the dummy role with his hands up and pointing and acting all confused and running interference essentially for anyone close to the play. As we were able to kind of tap it and slot it to the cutting Clay, who put it into the top right bin. Just a beautiful goal. Obviously, this is something they've practiced, and an indirect free kick inside the box is something you maybe have one or two plays for going into the season, but this was flawlessly executed.
Yeah, I'm excited for Quizera to get his Golden Globe for that acting job. Clay's getting all the press, all the attention, but it truly was incredible looking back at it. But on that indirect free kick, have to give another assist, another shout out to the Defiance. I think the counting down, getting the ref on the keeper there, I think was an amazing job by the sports section, really jumping on that and kind of putting it in the ref's ear to make a decision there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later in another segment that we go on. So I'll move forward to this one. But I had no clue. I don't know if I was just still celebrating. I believe you kind of said the same. It was actually my son, Zach, that was like, hey, Dad, they just scored. But immediately following the restart, Phoenix Rising goes down the pitch and Varela scores, making it 3-1 in the 90th minute. And we totally just... I thought it was an error on the scoreboard. I didn't comprehend it. I didn't see it. I was perplexed by this one, and I'm a big proponent of first 5 minutes, last 5 minutes of halves. You cannot concede goals, and you cannot concede goals immediately after scoring a goal. So this was absolutely the death blow, the hammer blow to RIFC having any chance in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it happened so fast. I'm going to blame $5 beer night for me not really comprehending that. But that was awful. I mean, looking back at it, I think it really came from the fact that we, didn't. I think we just never kind of resettled into our formation. We kind of were chopping and changing a lot of stuff, especially that last 15 minutes. And it seemed like no one really got out on the cross. And then I don't think Messer really did a great job on that back post there. So it is unfortunately like a drawback of fully chasing a game, having a bunch basically no center back at that point.
Yeah, we definitely had a hodgepodge lineup up there at that time right now.
Mm-hmm. So not great, especially to concede immediately after doing all the hard work to get it even to striking distance. So the team just really needs to, because I think we've had a couple of times where we've conceded right around either around the halfway mark. So it just really changes like going into the locker room, and even tonight, or Friday night, we missed the penalty, which would have changed kind of the team talk there. So hopefully we can look at that and make it a bit of a pride point to clean that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Some final stats for this one. RIFC with a 54% possession lead in this one. Outshot Phoenix 16-8. Phoenix did have 4 shots on target to our 3. Each team created 3 big chances. Rhode Island FC, 3 big chances missed. We led the way with 393 accurate passes, 83%. Again, 2 games in a row now, we have committed less fouls than our opponent. So the discipline getting much better. 10-8. We had 9 corners to their 1. And, I've said it on here a bunch of times. I think we're going to be dangerous from corners, but it just is not converted yet. Hopefully that'll flip on me in a little bit. But there was an absolute gigantic Chernobyl-esque meltdown in the Defiance Discord after this one. By one particular individual, but a few kind of chimed in with full-blown meltdown on this one. And I actually think there was a lot of good in this match, although the result did not go how we wanted or how we would have hoped to. This was definitely a step in the right direction for me, with the falls again being less. This was the first game we were able to take care of possession. Obviously, Phoenix figured out the press and was more clinical with their chances, but this saw us play a different way. Obviously, being a Spurs fan and kind of relating it, Kano and Ange, to not having plan Bs. I mentioned in the Discord today, we're going to see this 3-5-2. I'm not a big fan of the formation itself, especially with the lack of chances we're getting from the wingbacks. I'd much rather see a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-1-2-3 going in there, just to kind of solidify that midfield and hold things up a little bit more. But there was a huge meltdown, and I think metrics wise, this was a very good performance from a young RIFC expansion squad in terms of playing together. And for me, it was a pretty big step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I am as positive on this performance. I think we've clearly had better, but I mentioned it last week. This is a team that is growing and learning, and everything's a first for them this year. So we're seeing a lot of things being worked on in real time. These players met each other a couple months ago, so there's definitely chemistry worked out. There's definitely understanding each other's play styles we worked out. And honestly, again, Kano has never been a head coach before, so he has to work on things. So like the whole team needs to is going to grow, and luckily we have this first season to do so. So I don't think it was a dreadful performance. I think unfortunately it was a moments game where they get two goals on two shots. We miss our turn. We miss our penalty. They then get a final goal. But other than that, the game, there wasn't much difference between the two teams there, so can't complain too much.
Yeah, Scott says there were some silly fouls by us, though. Holstad and Yao in particular were just poor decision-making, lashing out. Some of that's lashing out and like poor decision-making. Some of it is just stop the play, catch a breath, very tactical foul, at least in my opinion. But again, 3-1, I think was a little bit flattering for Phoenix. Like I said, I didn't even see that third goal. Obviously, watching it back, saw what happened. And like you said, Messer very much kind of on an island on that one. But let's shift out of that. There were some positives. We can definitely take it from there. New segment we're going to throw in, especially after losses: the good, the bad, and the ugly. Ryan, start with your good. What do you got for good for us?
Ooh, this is fun. All right, so I'm going to highlight. So the press, I've talked about it a lot, both when I was, the Reddit commenter here, but also last week. We're really good at pressing, and to me, there's like two great parts of that. Number one is it's great because it shows that we can teach tactics. We can teach a coordinated press. And also two, it shows that Kano has buy-in. Pressing is not easy. It's a very taxing thing. And it takes a lot from the players to do that. Just to read off some stats of how we've been faring there. We're third in PPDA. And for those of you who don't know, that's how many passes the other team can make before we make a defensive action. So we're third in the league there. We're fifth in build-up disruption. So we're not letting the other teams kind of get in their flow. We're fourth in pressing intensity. We're fifth in pressing efficiency. So we do it a lot and we do it well. And we're second in field tilt, which means that we are mostly playing the game in the other team's half. And I thought it was really on display in that first half. There were so many times where I think I had at least 5 different turnovers that they just were booting it, and Yao, or one of our center backs, was collecting it by themselves at the halfway line. So we're doing a great job there. The bad part is we're not really making much out of it, but I think there's a really nice cornerstone for the team to build on.
Yeah, very nicely said. I knew you were going to come in hard with the metrics on this one, so I tried to do a little bit different on my end of it. And my good definitely goes to the supporters. And we mentioned
you're just trying to pander to the people watching, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going to start with my first good. It's going to be a big shout out to our guy Nate Ski. Nate Ski with the RIFC chant. It was said in the Discord today. People around the stadium hear that chant. People around the stadium will join into that chant. So the atmosphere from kickoff to final whistle was absolutely electric. So my good for this was the supporters. It got a little chilly out there. The fingers were numb. Holding on to those $5 bears and trying to send a text message or whatever. So this was just, I think, a great display, even being down till the final whistle. So my good definitely goes to supporters, with a huge nod to our guy Nate, who's probably typing RIFC into the chat right now. So really cool to kind of see this atmosphere not only start strong, but continue to grow, continue to flourish, and it's definitely catching on and making kind of the game day environment and game day feeling what it is now. 100%. So yeah, we'll move on to the bad. We cover the good. Let's go to the bad. And we'll start with you again, Ryan. What do you got for your bad from this one?
Yeah, my bad is set pieces. As you mentioned, we had 9 corners in this game. We had a handful of other set pieces around the box, and we just weren't. We created almost nothing off them, and almost like no shots. This was always going to be difficult. Phoenix, they're ranked number 2 on expected goals against per 90 on set pieces, so definitely not a club that was giving it up. But I also don't think we actually utilize a lot of the best practices that are out there. So I want to shout out this book called Net Gains. It's from this guy, Ryan Hanlon. It's a great, if you want to get into the weeds a bit on the analytics side of the game, really fun. But from that book, we do a good job by using in swingers, not out swingers. Those convert at a 2.7% clip versus 2.2. But one thing we do is that we always go to the back post. And one thing that's tough about that is it's usually only a direct shot from there. So flick-ons, which is when someone goes near post, flicks it, those actually convert at a 4.8% chance. And we saw that in the Premier League today. City got their goal that way. Arsenal got a goal that way. It wasn't from an Arsenal player, but an Arsenal goal there. So you see it actually, you see it be effective, especially in these teams that are drilling set pieces really hard. So I would like us to vary our tactics there. I think we are really aiming at Nodarse, which why wouldn't you? He's super tall, but he's also not getting super clean or really good contact on the ball. So maybe we can vary it, try a couple different things on these set pieces. I think there's room to grow there. We've not been great.
Yeah, the bad for me, I'm gonna take one of yours as well and go with No Darce. I have him at fault for the first 2 goals in particular. I had been pretty high on him the last episode or two. Like I said, you mentioned his height, his speed. I think he's a really good player, has the potential to be a really good player, but just the absolute whiffs and trying to get a little bit too cute with it versus the style that we had versus Las Vegas, which was just hoof it, get it out, clear it out, and live to see a throw in, which you'd much rather concede a throw in than obviously a close set piece or a goal. So I think this was a very bad performance from Nodarse. Obviously early days, and I don't want to like fully like dump on the guy, but I think he can be much better, and I think we're going to see kind of some rotation within the 3 center backs, and I wouldn't be surprised if Stoneman is able to come into the next one, and Nodarse slots onto the bench, because I think Kano is going to kind of let these guys go trial by fire with it. Leading us to our last piece of this one, and the ugly. Ryan, what do you have for the ugly?
Oh man, so I was gonna say the over aggressiveness from our center backs, but I think you just touched on that nicely. So I'm gonna go with, I thought it was ugly that we went away from what worked in Vegas. So
where were the cutbacks?
Yeah, where were the cutbacks, and also where was the compactness from the defense? Where was the keeping it simple? Where was going long and using our press as a weapon? It was really upsetting, because you almost hope the team would have learned a lesson there. And on this podcast last week, I came up with 100 reasons why we made the changes that we did. I thought it was personnel based. I thought it was us using pressing at advantage. And shout out to Matt from Raising Anchor. He asked Kano why we did that, and he was like, "Oh, the field was small." And I was like, "Ah, crap! Like fair, that is a good reason to do it." But unfortunately, it seemed like we then went away from it being back at home on the larger field. In this game, like looking at our center backs, they had 194 touches, and that's even like skewed completely by people. Gabriel Alves went to like left back at one point. We also pulled a couple center backs, so versus only 137 versus Vegas. So they were on the ball a lot more. I feel like the Phoenix did a great job cutting off like a lot of the access they had at different places, but I don't think again, we didn't learn from what worked well in Vegas, and I really hope that they can review the tape here and come away with some different conclusions.
Yeah, definitely. The ugly for me is going to be kind of the theme of the day for me in officiating. Obviously, it started this morning at 9:00 with the North London Derby, but
I thought he was great.
Yeah, obviously, right. The play, one of the early plays in the match when Gabi Alves was thrown into the light board, and it wasn't even a foul, let alone a yellow or a sending off, was just perplexed me. Good to see Gabi got him back though, and threw him into one of the sideboards.
I saw it in the rewatch. I was like, all right, there you go.
That was good to see as well. But
what was really weird, I had thought that maybe the ref was reluctant to give his first yellow of the game, but he had given one already. Like it wasn't even that.
Yeah,
so I don't know what happened there.
No bearing on the play. Definitely a little extracurricular activity there that we screamed and yelled, and my 6-year-old son screamed and yelled at that one. So very proud of him for that. Yes. But then again,
Zach put on a great performance. He should have been good.
He sure did. With kind of what you said, and you were very what's the word I want to use here? You very much gave the credit to the Defiance about the counting down, and you said to me like, we gotta count down, and you went and ran and told Nate, who had the mic, and you led the charge of counting down the keeper's kick. So the ugly, it took us to get very vocal and loud with that one for the officials to finally blow the whistle to lead to the goal. But it totally rattled the shit out of Phoenix keeper Novo, who I think kicked 3 straight goal kicks out of play after that started going on. And, you know, the referee obviously was pressured to and awarded us the indirect free kick inside the box. So the ugly is still the officiating for me. And I know that's going to be a USL championship thing. I don't know who I was talking to on the walk out or during the game, and they were like, I almost wonder if the officiating is so bad in this league to rile the fans up and to get a reaction. And like it almost makes you wonder. Like it made me think. But for me, the ugly was definitely the officiating. So big shout out to you, Ryan, for leading the charge on the counting down the goalie getting rid of the ball and the blatant time wasting by the Phoenix Rising keeper.
Well, I despise taking credit for anything in the world. I appreciate that. And yeah, it was awesome. If Clay Holstad, if you get a goal bonus, you want to, hit my Venmo up, I'll leave it in the chat. But yeah, I've celebrated that time wasting call like it was worth 5 goals. That was amazing. Super fun. But we got up to, I think, 20 at one point.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It's just good.
Wild.
I hope that we can keep doing that, especially when we're chasing games, because what it does is it just makes the ref have to make a decision, because we are showing that the other team is blatantly ignoring the rules of the game. And, they're only, for anyone who doesn't know, they're only supposed to have 6 seconds. So when we start getting to 15, 16, 17, and it's happening over and over, it just shows, and you could hear it on the broadcast, it shows that the ref is clearly missing something. So I'm hoping that the supporter section, even the rest of the crowd, can get involved with that as the season wears on.
Absolutely. Before we kind of put a pin in this one in the match do you have any stats or anything else you want to cram in to this one?
No, I mean, the one, just to give a little extra meat on the center backs thing, I really hope that we can, because I had over aggressiveness is what led to the 2 goals. But just looking at a little bit of the data, like we're actually 13th in shots conceded. We don't do a ton of it, but we actually we're 23rd in non-penalty XG per shot and 20th. And so we're giving up like really good shots. So I'm hoping that the team, instead of being super aggressive and trying to get tackles in, especially in that back 3, can sit off, focus on blocking, focus on containing their man a little bit
more.
Work
on closing down.
Yes. Because I just feel like we were just super aggressive, and it was just giving them like these much like easier layups instead of, making it a little bit more difficult, making them have to actually beat a man. So that was the most glaring thing I saw.
Sure. So next we'll jump to the listener comments. So if you're not already following all the social medias, click that link in this episode description. We do a post-match post on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Twitter, anywhere, pretty much everywhere. So if you want to get your thoughts on the show, make sure you respond to those posts, and we'll do our best to get them on. From Reddit, we had Please Stand By say, by my eye test, in parentheses, for whatever that's worth, it feels like we played fine. We generated a ton of chances. We were crossing into the box and attacking directly. Their first goal, I think, was assisted by an overzealous slide tackle that Phoenix took advantage of. I did not see much of the third goal since I sit in the supporter section, and it was on the other side of the field, and it happened very fast. You and us both, please stand by. I did not follow USL prior to this year, but I know Phoenix won the league last year, and they certainly seem to have a lot of quality players. Their goalkeeper didn't seem to have a bad touch in the whole game, and they played very solid defense on our crosses. He did have a few bad touches, and that was after he was rallied after the counting. So do want to definitely mention that. The loss almost feels worse because we had the scoring chances. If the prior year champs walked in and beat us 3-0 and we had a few chances, I'd probably be like, yeah, they're just way better than us. But the performance makes me feel good about the team in general. Props to the supporters. The energy level stayed high for 90 plus minutes. Great atmosphere. Anything to add to that, Ryan?
No, it's a really good call. I think with the point about like the defending champs walked in, one thing that has been really encouraging this year is there's only been one half where we were like really outclassed, which was that half in Tampa. So we have been, going toe to toe with a lot of good teams. So totally agree that it was encouraging that the defending champs walked in and didn't look like they dominated us. So really good shout there.
Yeah, we also had Disease Ridden on Reddit. Thought they looked good overall.
What a name.
What a name. Controlled most of the game, just couldn't finish. Struggled to break down Phoenix after they took the lead and sat deeper. The indirect free kick was also wild. Never seen a ref call that for the keeper holding the ball for too long. They took it well. Phoenix keeper probably should have gotten a second yellow after their third goal for running halfway across the field to send the ball placed in the center circle into the stands. Wouldn't have made a huge difference, I don't think, but still a bit frustrating.
Yes.
And D. Zimbrowski replied to that. A cheeky delay of game is one thing, but he legit just punted the ball at the fans. That's just okay now. Also, height is great, but our defensive line could really use some speed, and that doesn't mean play Holstead there. Hope Messer gets a chance to start some games. Would like to see him and Turnbull on the field at the same time. Two very good points. The time wasting bit and the keeper punting the ball, like you said, that would have been a second yellow, so that would have been interesting in the death of the game. But again, I think it just shows how incompetent the USL Championship officials actually are.
Yep.
We do have a comment in the chat that I want to address, and I know Mouse from the Defiance Discord, our UK fan, was definitely high on Prince Sadie. Scott says Prince Sadie has one shot. He takes the ball outside the box, cuts in, turns, and then puts the ball 2 feet over the ball. He has made that exact shot 5 times minimum. I've seen a lot of Sadie talk in the last few days. I think Mouse wants him to start like immediately. He's played a total of 99 minutes, so that's kind of where it was difficult for me. I think the Open Cup game kind of exposed him a little bit there as far as why he's not starting.
Mm-hmm.
But thoughts on Prince Sadie? He did come in and he was able to get the ball in and around the box. And I think he was the one kind of impactful sub we had as far as chasing the game in this one.
Sorry, I just saw Scott, who is Mouse.
Scott is Mouse. I'm sorry.
Yeah, is Mouse, and he's anti-Sadie.
Oh no! When I was listening to his spot on Twitter last night, I thought he was pro Sadie.
No.
My bad. Oh, so sorry.
That's so funny. So I'm not anything, like you said, he's 99 minutes played so far. The problem is I don't think he fits the current system very well. I think he would really benefit. And actually, when he came on, we did switch to more of like a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, like kind of playing on the wing. So yeah, I think he would benefit from being more of that inverted winger, someone who's taking the ball out wide, taking people on, because he has a ton of speed. But I don't think he has phenomenal hold up play or kind of that great footwork that we see from Fusan and Dikwa that seems to be necessary for the 3-5-2 that we're playing right now. Too many numbers running around my head.
Yeah, at least I kept it to Turnbull today, so I didn't drop a David Turnbull. I very much well know it's Stephen Turnbull. So, but I did have trying to balance it all and getting all of the listener comments in and monitoring the chat and get it all in. So I apologize,
You're doing
Scott.
Great. You're doing
Mouse.
great.
I know you're up late watching us, so thank you again for joining. We'll hit our final listener comments here, and they come from Facebook. First, we had Jed Thorpe. Got to get better finding the goal. Plenty of opportunities. On to the next one with a thumbs up emoji. Mazi Palencia says the D needs to clear better. Some of those balls that get in the box, but we're on to North Carolina. And like I said, that we saw that in Vegas. We need to see that more often. ESFC coach Almeida says it happens. On to the next game. And the last comment on Facebook, our good friend Natesky, RIFC. So thank you to everyone who took the time to write in. Again, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I post in the Rhode Island FC Reddit. If you respond to any of those posts, we'll use all of your information, all of what you say in these episodes. So it helps us bring your comments, and you don't get to hear just us talk about all of it. Throughout, you can actually kind of see what other people's thoughts are and get your voices heard. So next up, may the 4th be with us as we play North Carolina FC on the road Saturday, May 4th at 7 p.m. North Carolina has one win in their last 5, and that was a 1-0 win over the Carolina Core. Most recently, they lost 2-1 in Indianapolis to the Indy 11, and before that was a 3-2 home loss to New Mexico United. We're gonna try to do an away end episode midweek with a North Carolina podcast or a content creator, but we will take a look at a little bit of what they're doing so far this year. And Ryan, I know you got some stats on them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think this might end up being a low-scoring affair next week. They're 18th in non-penalty expected goals, so lower mid-table there. But they're first in non-penalty XG against, so they're doing a good job limiting chances. They're not a pressing team; they're 18th or lower in all pressing metrics. So I think that our energy is going to have to be the one. We're gonna have to take the game to them a bit, and I hope that our chance creation we can up our chance creation a bit here, because I think it's going to be, the onus is going to be on us to do so. So we'll see. I'm excited.
Yeah, like you said, it's the exact same goal differential. We have 7 goals on the season. We've conceded 11. They have 8. They've conceded 12. They are the only team below us in the Eastern Conference standings right now. I worry that this one is very much going to be the Pittsburgh match 2.0, and both teams kind of playing not to lose, and then we see a 0-0 draw. But hopefully we can. I think we're going to see a little bit of rotation. I don't think we'll see the same 11 that we saw for the last 2 matches. I would not be surprised to see maybe Doyle get a start, or someone else go in there. But we definitely have to be a little bit more clinical and kind of take advantage of those different situations. But we're going to hold off on our score predictions, as we're going to, try to get a midweek episode in. So stay tuned. Click that subscribe button. Click that like button if you haven't already. And check around Wednesday or Thursday and follow our socials, and look out for an announcement that there will be a new episode dropping. So before we put a plug in this one, Ryan, any final thoughts? Anything else you want to share before we sign off?
Yeah, just one final thought. This was my first week heading over to the Defiance tailgate, doing the march in, being in the supporters section. And I just have to say, while we lost, and I was a little down by that, I had the biggest smile on my face going home. I had the absolute best time with the supporters club, the Defiance. And I just have to say, if you are supporter group curious at all, definitely pop in the Discord, come over at the tailgate, go to a watch party with the team. You're going to have a great time. It is the most welcoming, nice group, and they're just really trying to have fun while supporting this team. So just have to plug the Defiance and what's happening there, because like I said, I had the biggest smile on my face and we just lost. So yeah, shout out to Irvin and everybody building there.
Right, that's well said. I think I'll throw that invite link into the link in this episode description. So again, if you're watching or if you're listening, you can click that and it will link you to the Discord. The Discord's also a great source for information. You've got Raising Anchor, you've got Kevin with the Quahog Corner, and there's just there's a vlog being put out as well. So there's a lot of Rhode Island FC content coming out there. We're obviously not it. We're not all of it. We don't claim to be all of it. But we want to hear as many fans as possible, and we definitely interact with Kevin. We interact with Matt. We talked with Matt a while before the game from Raising Anchor. So we are not only Rhode Island FC content creators, we are consumers as well. So
yeah, shout out to Kevin for bringing his podcast to the ESPN broadcast, where his ref chirping was loud and clear.
That is awesome. Yeah. I know Kevin's going on Tuesday this week, so if you're used to the Monday Quahog Corner, make sure you set your alarm for Tuesday at 8. He had a little scheduling conflict that he tweeted about today. So, make sure you're definitely there. It's a great place to just kind of interact. But the sense of community with this club is what I love. This was our second walk with the supporters club, second march in, and it was because my son was like, I want to go in with the drums again. I love it. So Zach loves it, Ryan loves it. It's just a good time. It's a great sense of community, and it's what I think is going to make and draw a lot of people to this club. If you've never heard of Discord and Discord scares you away from joining the Defiance thing, you don't have to join the Defiance to be in the Discord. There is a Rhode Island FC general channel. It's a free chat app. You can access it on the web, just really easy, and there's a lot of good talk in there. There's a lot of good stuff in there as well. So make sure you join that and just kind of connect with fans. That's what this is all about. That's what's going to make us, successful going forward. So again, be on the lookout for a midweek episode as we try to connect with a North Carolina FC content creator and do a proper preview on this one. And then we'll give our score predictions. But a 3-1 home loss. So we see the home unbeaten run end. Not the end of the world, not the Chernobyl meltdown that happened on that Discord after the match. we will move on. We will be better. So thank you for everyone who joined us, who chimed in the chat. Thank you for everyone who also posted on all of our posts. So for Ryan, I've been your host, Matt. We'll see you next time on RIFC Nation. Up the Tide.
Up the Tide.